Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, hello, everyone. My name is Ricardo. I'm CEO of the FCJ Europe. I'm very glad to be here. I hope you saw, specifically in this area, it's very hard times during the COVID era. Okay, I'd just like to introduce myself as I'm the CEO, co-founder of FCJ Europe. I'm based here in Portugal. Today we'll have a presentation of our approach here in Europe. But first of all, I would like to introduce our speakers. We have two speakers today, Justino, Henrique, and Arthur. So I ask Justino to introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Justino. I am the CEO of FCJ Venture Builder. I have 30 years of experience in information technology. I was CIO and commercial director. I was the creator of the model, and I was of the founder. We started the company in 2013 with 19 investors. Nowadays, we are more 200 investors. It's a pleasure to be here launching FCJ Europe. Thank you, Ricardo.
Okay, thank you, Justino. Now I invite Henrique Veiga. Please, Henrique.
Hi, my name is Henrique Veiga, from Portugal, from Lisbon. What I am, I'm doing many things, but 25 years of experience in real estate, hospitality, and technology. I'm partner of Top Capital, one of the partners of the FCJ Brazil, and I'm very glad to be here with you today in order to introduce and launch the FCJ Europe. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Henrique. Please, I'd like to invite Arthur.
Yes, hello, good afternoon to everybody. And so my name is Arto. I'm Finnish. So I'm having businesses here in Finland and also in Brazil, and been working in very many different fields like engineering industry, shipyards, managing director of a Brazilian subsidiary and also in Finland, and now I'm having own businesses, and also we are taking FCJ to Finland to develop these businesses here. So it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Okay, I really appreciate Arthur. So get back into presentation. Basically today we have the opportunity to present our approach here in Europe. Okay, this image for me is very significant because as you know, who knows Portugal well, this is the Monumento of Descobrimento that celebrates the Portuguese Age of Discovery. So as a Brazilians and FCJ as a Brazilian company, we are very happy to getting the way back, not only for Portugal, but all the Europe. So that's why using this imaging for both of you. Going next to our agenda, our presentation today will be less than 1 hour. Basically, we know everybody are tired of lives and webinars in this era. So you try to do it quickly and interactive way. Okay, so probably we will spend less than 1 hour for that. So we have this intro. I go to a quick presentation for 20 minutes. It's a very straight to the point presentation. And then we get back to speakers that each one will have 5 minutes to talk a little, to add some comments and some points of view. And then we have our Q&A, in my opinion, is the best part where we can interact with each other during this presentation, okay? So my suggestion for you that you are taking your notes and send your questions, no matter what channel you're using. So we are receiving here, our back team will receive the questions, and we will try to do them in the Q&A session right now, okay? So let's go to the presentation. Oops. Yes, so here you are. Basically, we are on the I'm sorry. Oops. Okay, who we are. Okay, so FCJ was founded in 2013, okay, in Brazil as a venture builder. FCJ was going in the same way every startup does. So they are trying to find the ideal model, best business model to succeed in the market. So Justino went found this company in 2013, never realized how hard it is to do something that can scale. So only on 2018, FCJ found their scalable model and decided to grow as fast as they can. Okay, so basically nowadays they have this chart showing all FCJ initiatives around Brazil specifically. So nowadays we have 18 venture builders and corporate venture builders in Brazil. We have another arm about Startup Wing that we'll talk a little later. Okay, they start the arm of investments. So you have the FCJ Capital, FCJ Invest, and Angels Network. And for last, we have the international expansion that we start with FCJ Europe, and then we have FCJ Finland that we start almost the same time, and FCJ Finland will be below FCJ Europe as well, okay? And as soon as possible, we are starting the FCJ America in the United States and Canada, okay? So that's what is FCJ is, okay? And I can give you more details regarding what we do. So talk about what we do usually. First of all, the world is changing so fast nowadays, as all we know, that what you have in the past do not guarantee your future. Doesn't matter for corporations or for life. We understand nowadays that you have to adapt as fast as you can in the world to survive in this new moment we are living. Doesn't matter in the personal side or the corporate side, okay? So basically in the past and nowadays, FCJ start working with venture builders and corporate venture builders, okay? They are preparing new startups in many areas to realize or make success by themselves or attached to a corporation, okay? So FCJ is 100% focused in corporate venturing, defined as a collaborative framework between established corporations and innovation startups. So we are focused 100% inside the corporate venture, that we have the open innovation side and we have the what you call closed innovation side, when the companies has their R&D efforts internally, and then we have the open innovation when they try to realize and have relationships with the ecosystem, usually for innovative startups. So basically we are focused on the external side of this relationship, okay? So we are focused 100% in open innovation right now. We have a team that we are preparing to scale internationally. So basically, Justino did a great job trying to bring the best people to try to support this initiative. And basically nowadays, FCJ has a global advisory board. When we have Justino, we have Hans Stickel from Germany, we have Jorge Letras from Portugal, Tim Chen from China, Brazil, and America, Augusto from Brazil, and Mito Yuki from Brazil and Japan, okay? The idea to prepare this expansion start some time ago. So the first step is to bring people to try to understand how we will go to the market internationally. And basically what FCJ decided is to make an agreement with Top Capital that is led by Tim Chen, Augusto, and Henrique Veiga, okay? So Top Capital is supporting the FCJ international expansion. So here in Europe, we have as partners in the structure, Top Capital, FCJ Brazil, and Ricardo as well. So basically the most important part that all the shareholders has the same alignment in the mindset. So I have a lot of experience like Top Capital in investments. I have my background in venture capital since 2004. So we are very excited to be part of this initiative. And as you know, FCJ Europe will be the first movement in this internationalization. So it's quite challenging, but we are very confident that we will succeed here in Europe and around the world. Okay. You have the FCJ network. So we have 18 venture builders. We have 208 investors in FCJ Brazil nowadays. We have almost 200 entrepreneurs in the initiatives in Brazil, 33 executives, 62 startups, and a team of 157 people. Okay, so it's quite impressive how Justino scaled the FCJ in Brazil. We assuming that we have challenges around the world, but we think that we are on the good position to do that quickly. Taking about the roadmap for expansion, okay, we know that it's a very ambitious strategy. We try to look at the most important markets around the world, but at the same time, as usually all startups have to think globally, we decided to do the first step here in Europe. We have a lot of challenge to make this happen in Europe, but we are so confident to do that. And basically, Top Capital is supporting FCJ to do these movements around the world, from America to Asia. So we are very excited to do this development, okay? We think that our model could be replicated around the world. Will not be the same model that we use in Brazil specifically, and we know that we have to adapt this model of each region that we are landing. Something that we learn a lot of learning in internationalization process, that we have to have some adaptations in the model to bring this mindset of this effort around the globe. Okay. So what we're bringing to Europe, basically, if you can look the framework on the right side of the slide, is something like Julia Prats and Jose Maria Ciota from Yes Business School did quite good about to explain about the open innovation side. Remembering that open innovation is basically it's something, everything that's outside of the company, is not the R&D. So during the open innovation, we have the most important part is the corporate venturing. As I mentioned to you, corporate venturing is the part where the company have relationships with the startup ecosystem, specifically for innovative startups. Okay, to do corporate venturing, you have a bunch of mechanisms to do it. Most of you probably know almost all of them, from hackathons to scout missions, venture client, a venture builder, and corporate accelerators, incubators. So a lot of companies are doing this around the world, not only in Brazil, in America, in Europe, or everywhere. Okay, the companies usually has two ways to do this movement or use this mechanism. They can do this internally when they specifically trying to bring an effort below the innovation arm. So the company try to do it by themselves. So a corporation has this open innovation or corporate venture using any of these mechanisms internally, okay, inside the company, or they can try to hire someone else to bring this the solutions for them. Okay, that's the basic two models we already have. What we are bringing to Europe specifically, besides the fact we are very venture builder or corporate venture builder, we are adapting our Brazilian model to bring a hybrid solution to Europe. So it will be a mix of corporate venture capital and corporate venture builder. Okay, I'll explain a little further. But basically, we are not bringing the same model we have in Brazil. We have some adaptations that we are doing, and we think that it's very innovative from the European continent. Okay, so basically, how we do it when we start this corporate venture builder, as you know, it's not a new mechanism. As I mentioned on the last slide, okay, a lot of companies are doing this internally or with third part. Okay, so what is different that when you have a third part working in corporate venture builder, usually they do this process as a service provider. Okay, in our case, the way that we like to work is to share risks with the corporation. So basically, when we are doing a corporate venture builder or corporate venture plus corporate venture capital, we start with a new company, a full independent structure, a new company where we have with partners the corporation, our client, okay, FCJ Europe, and investors. Important point here that when we have a external entity with these shareholders, our idea from here is to align our vision and the risks of the operation, okay? So when you think in this way, it's more a CVC than a CVB. It's more corporate venture capital than a corporate venture builder. So our model is very different because we are risk takers in this way. So we like this mixed model with CVB and CVC, okay? So basically we have these three shareholders in the CVB that are focused on doing our job. Basically, in our process here in Europe, we have 4 phases, and the first one, then we have to find the pains to be killed by the corporation. Maybe is the most important part of the process, by the way, as most of the companies, or not most of the companies, but a lot of companies don't know the pains they'd like to kill. So our efforts right here, with our experience for more than 15 years in venture capital, investing in startups, and in strategic planning, is to identify the best objectives for this process of the corporate venture building. Okay, it's very common for companies that start the process, but they do not realize exactly what they need to do sometimes. So it's very important point that to have a very good conversation with the C-level team to determine the objectives of this corporate venture builder. One time we have this very well known, what we need to do, okay? We go to the second phase where we will start to structure the investment thesis. So basically for each demand, we'll have a specific investment thesis. So no matter if you would like to invest in 5 startups or 50 startups, we need investment thesis to start our corporate venture builder, okay? So that's the second time. After that, FCJ Europe will go to the market to raise the capital needed for the CVB. When I say that we go to the market, we know that we have a very strong network, not only in Brazil. We have a very strong network in USA, in Europe, in Asia. That's why you have the global advisors supporting all the initiatives right now. So basically, we are bringing 2 kinds of capitals. We are bringing the capital from external investors, and we bring capital for the employees of the company, of the corporation or a client in this way, okay? I will explain to you why you're doing that. After we raise the CVB funding, so we go to the portfolio selection management. So it's the 4th phase is more about execution. So we'll have to make this CVB operates as planned, okay? The idea is we have an external entity, so we have a specific team for this CVB, and then FCJ Europe will supervise all the efforts. We have a very strong governance structure, so we'll be part of this initiative. We have a board that could be part of with the corporation, with the investors, and with the FCJ to make this happen. Okay, that's something that we already do in Brazil. So we have our methodology, we have a lot of expertise in this area as well. And then, assuming that's why we are different from other initiatives, we believe that our hybrid model that combine corporate venture builder and corporate venture capital in a single entity allows us to do something that we understand that is the most challenging point for corporate venturing. The most challenging point for corporate venturing is to balance the relationship between the corporations and startups. We have something in very different positions of power. So when you have corporations dealing directly with startups, you have a lot of pressure And basically what FCJ are doing with this model is to try to balance the force between corporations and startups. So corporations know better the market than startups. Usually they have the clients, they have access to the market, and startups has all the mindset of innovative initiatives, use the lean methods and all the assets. So when you mix these two entities or two ecosystems from corporation to startups, we believe that to be in the middle to try to balance this force, we will have a more interesting result. Our focus is to have results from both sides as fast as you can. So our model using this structure for investment in startups and bring them to have relationships with corporation makes a lot of sense from our side. Okay. So basically, that's the quick presentation I would like to do. Okay. I'll be more than happy when you can send more Q&A questions during our Q&A session. It's very interesting to know that the idea here is just to present why we're going abroad from Brazil, why you choose Europe, and what will bring to Europe as well. Okay. We have a very startup mindset. So we understand that to have to succeed in this endeavor, sometimes we have to fail and we need to fail fast. So we bring this to European market, and we know that we will adapt as soon as we get touching the ground for some potential clients. We already have some conversations on the going and hope to have news soon from our side. Okay. Finally, just to let you know that we have next events from FCJ. So in September 18, we have the launch of Startup Win Portugal. There's a specific not for Europe. Startup Win is one of the arms of FCJ. Justino maybe can explain a little regarding to you. But basically, we are starting Startup in Portugal launch day in September 18. On October 1st, FCJ is bringing the soft landing that will allow Brazil and Portugal soft landing for both sides. So Brazilian companies could access Portugal, and Portugal startups could access Brazil market as well. As we have a very strong network in Brazil, we have 62 startups in Brazil as well, and have a lot of corporations dealing with us, a lot of investors. We assume you have an asset very interesting for startup companies from Portugal to access Brazil. Okay. And finally, on October 8th, we have the official launch of FCJ Finland. Artur, our guest here, the speaker, and you can explain a little. But basically, we have the structure of FCJ Europe. And as we understand that besides the fact the European Union is 27 countries, each one has a very specific culture, have specific problems and companies. So we do not think that we are smart enough to trying to conquer Europe by ourselves. So our idea is to share knowledge and expertise. So we are trying to be country partners in each country that we have an approach. And for sure, we have partners to be on the ground near the clients on each country. Okay. I really would like to thank you for your time for this short presentation. Okay, here are my contacts. I really would like to thank you all the FCJ team in Brazil as well that support us in this first effort. It's quite good to have all the background guys that work in FCJ Brazil supporting us right here. And then we'll go to Q&A after the speakers. So still sending your questions, please. Okay, so I will go to the first. Marcos, if you'd like to put the background, I can use this one. But basically, I would like to invite Justino. You have 5 minutes to add some comments or some opinions on your vision regarding this movement you are doing specifically.
Okay, thank you, Ricardo. FCJ, clarify something. FCJ, during the period from 2013 and 2019, we developed a venture builder model. It began to offer it to group of people that want to create their own regional and vertical venture builder. But in 2019, we started to offer to corporate venture builder model that allows companies create their initiative in a model external. It's very important, external and open innovation. However, with high governance and juridical safety, without losing focus on core business. Nowadays, I believe you have the model that can help companies, startups, investors who have the good team, the very, very good team, involved team, and the right moment for the initiative. I think we have the good moment to we have a team and experience to launch in FCJ Europe. Top Capital is very important in this process. It's coming to you, Ricardo. It's a pleasure to know you have many experience for CVC and venture capital. It's coming for FCJ Group. It's my pleasure to you. And Mr. Arthur in Finland, thank you for coming to finance. It's very interesting. The world is very, very small because we think the world is very big, but it's very small. Arthur to live in Brazil, it's coming. Mr. Henrique Vegas, Portuguese people, to bring us the mindset, the European and Portuguese. I think the mindset is very important for us. And Ricardo, there are two questions. Do you ask response?
Let me finish the presentation from Arthur, and then we get back only to the questions, so we can have more interaction with the audience. Okay.
I intend to nowadays I believe to God to permit it is here. I think God is helping us during the journey. The team is very, very good in the Brazil. The shareholders is very involved. The executives. I think it's possible to come here because my team. I would like to thank you for my team, my involvement, my executives, my shareholder to believe with me with a dream in 2013. It's just dream. I wrote to page to found the investor. After 7 years, we'll stay here. Thank you, Ricardo.
Okay, thank you, Justino. Just a comment. As a former investor, I'm a former investor for the first seed capital fund in Brazil. I have been doing this for 15 years. I specifically know how hard it is to start something. It's usually it's easy to others to say what is good or what is bad, but until we're doing that or make this happen, it's only the founders can have the pains and the success for doing something. So congrats for your track record in Brazil. When you have results, is the best way to show how things are working. We are not perfect, we know that, but we are looking for the best we can do, not only in Brazil, but abroad. Really appreciate your time.
Thank
you. Henrique, I'd like to invite you to to make your comments. I know that have some quick issues with your connection, but feel free.
Yeah, let's make my comments to you. And I start with who is Top Capital, because I think it is important to understand, as partner of FCJ, who is Top Capital. And Top Capital is a private equity company with international operations in several sectors, from the agribusiness, hospitality, real estate, retail, pharmaceutical, health, and technology itself. In this specific project, Top Capital is supporting FCJ in its internationalization process. And as you presented, Ricardo, we also believe that the model of the open innovation has the best cost-benefit ratio for the innovation. Ricardo presents to us the corporate venture builder model and why we believe on that. We believe on that because it is good for corporate that innovates with speed, negligible costs, and with success with the startups. But it's also very, very good for the startups that gain maturity and adhere to the real needs of the market through the corporates, gain scale, high level of network that gives all support of the company, and that is, at the same time accelerates the growth by reducing the mortality of the startups. The mortality rate of the startups today is around 70%. And with this open innovation with the corporates, near of the corporates, we believe that we can reduce a lot this mortality rate of the startups. Also, the startups need the capital for the expansion. And this model gives access to capital to the startups. But it is also good for investors who have now access through this model to startups with potential, less risk, and at the same time, liquidity. That question is very important for the startups. The exit moment, the liquidity moment, is quite important in all this process. And also, it is good for venture capital to have more qualified assets to form and to build their pipeline. Okay, we are creating solutions for the people's needs, for the companies, and it is with great satisfaction that Top Capital is supporting today the launch of FCJ in Europe. Portugal was chosen as platform for its vocation for technology. As you know, there are a lot of technical capacity in the country, and also cultural proximity with Brazil from the beginning. During this process, we are approaching not only Europe, but also the Middle East, where we have some network already activated. At this moment, we have already initiatives in Portugal, Spain, Finland, as you have seen, and also in Germany. We believe really in this open model, open innovation model, and the corporate venture builder for us is one big opportunity. That is what is Top Capital, and why we are on train of this project, and we are supporting and we are helping, and we are in the same adventure in Europe, like FCJ in Brazil. Now we are starting the FCJ Europe. Back to you, Ricardo.
Okay, really appreciate it. Thank you for your comments and your clarifications. It's quite good to have Top Capital. I know Tim, your partner for a long time in Augusta. So it's quite good to have you here, especially that you recommend me to be part of the team before I join FCJ. So it's quite good. Okay, Arthur, let's go to you, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Ricardo. And as I was thinking that I speak a little bit about Finland itself, and also why FCJ is entering here in Finland, and I think as Finland is well known globally for startups and many other things, and I think one thing in startups, as Finland has an excellent environment for startups. In general, there's expertise. The society is working very well. Cooperation pretty easy with companies and universities. There's a lot of different accelerators, incubators, subsidies. Co-working things, and also in investors too, in some extent. But anyway, I'll see that there could be more for startups. I mean, the environment is excellent, but the startups could be more, and also the venture builder and corporate venture builder models are basically non-existing in Finland. So I think in that sense, it gives good opportunities for FCJ to enter to Finland as combining the non-existence of these corporate venture builders together with this good environment. So I think that's a very good combination. And I think this for the processes of creating and scaling companies. So that's also needs support or help in Finland. So I think FCJ can do a lot in that. Anyway, regarding these said startups, that there could be more, but of course there are some very well-known startups in Finland, like Supercell or Rovio for the Angry Birds and so on. So, and a lot of things happening in gaming industry. But we want, like as a Finnish person, we would like to have more startups and big startups here in Finland. So I think in that sense, this is giving good opportunities. Something about the what kind of interesting areas there could be in Finland. For example, as there has been discussion about this here lately, about in quantum technology, biotechnical food, chemical recycling of plastics or material optimization, and also energy sector is such that it's giving interesting opportunities. But for sure, there are opportunities for all areas of the business or society for startups. And also nowadays, the environment for startups, bigger companies also, it's getting very interesting, as if comparing this some 20-30 years ago. So big companies didn't really very not interested in for smaller companies. So nowadays they are real partners. And one thing regarding also updated regarding this COVID-19 situations, it has been also difficult, but regardless of that, the technology startups are doing well or better than expected. So also this gives good idea, understanding and of the possibilities doing things here in Finland. And also, like in general, I think the big difficulties and possibilities, or the big difficulties, and so they are excellent opportunities in general. So I think it's time to utilize this thing together with the excellent environment for startups. And like a last thing, like in the recent or the latest Global Innovation Index comparison, Finland was ranked 7th among 131 economies. So that's also is a good indication for excellent possibilities for FCJ and corporate venture building businesses here in Finland. So that's more or less my shortly the situation in Finland, and I really think that together with the FCJ in Brazil and FCJ Europe, so there's going to be a great things happening here in Finland in the near future. Thank you.
Okay. Really appreciate that. It's quite good to have your inputs. We that are on the market for a long time. we know how important is the Nordic countries like Finland, Sweden, and so basically it's quite interesting because I think that's a different challenge, but it will be great to get into this market as well. You know how hard it will be, but we are happy to try to do this because basically I'm assuming that we have opportunities everywhere around the world. Okay, so taking our agenda here, we are on time, so almost British. Going to Q&A side, we have a lot of questions here in our platform. So I'm choose the questions I think that's most important for all of you. But first of all, I'd like to thank all the greetings from a lot of people here on the chat. I want to take two for an example. One from Hans, our advisor from Germany. Thank you, Hans, to be part of. And another one is Mr. Rios from Sweden. I know that he's responsible for Sony Acceleration Program in Sweden. So it'll be quite good to talk to you soon. It's very interesting to have this kind of feedback from people everywhere in the world, because we are looking at that's what makes us different to try to approach the market. Going to the questions, basically, we start for the first one. Let me check here. I'm sorry. Okay. Heitor Souza, will startups in Brazil be part of the portfolio or just from Europe? I'm not understanding your question, Heitor, but basically FCJ Europe, it's another structure that will do the corporate venture builders right here in Europe, in each country. And then this corporate venture builder will invest in local startups for the European market on each country, okay? So I'm not sure that I'm answering your question specifically, otherwise you can send it again, please, okay? Another question, let me check right here. Gustavo Castro, will you present Brazilian startups that already on FCJ to be invested in Europe? Good question, Gustavo. It's something that we can be discussing in the near future. As I mentioned, we'll have an event for soft landing from Brazilian companies going to Europe or Portugal, and Portugal European companies that can access the Brazilian market. My experience as investor in Brazil, in US, told me that we can do this movement as well. You can have opportunities to have European investors as well, but basically you have to be in the market to have the traction you need to present for local investors in the European market. So it could be a possibility, but first of all, you have to be here to have some traction in the local market before you try to raise the money. It's a very common, not a mistake, but it's a very common effort for Brazilian startups to try to go abroad before doing some traction on the local market, like in US or like in Europe. So it's easier for you to raise money if you are already operating or have some clients abroad. So then you can move part of your structure to a new country, and then you can explore potential investors. Okay, I hope I answered your questions. Let me see more questions right here. Albert Soares, if I'm a Brazilian investor in FCJ, how could I invest in FCJ Europe? A good question. I didn't mention that, but our structure here in FCJ Europe, basically we have the top capital in FCJ Brazil as partner, but we will have a slot for external investors. That's a structure that have been used in FCJ Brazil in many areas or many initiatives, and will be the same here. We have a very small slot for investors to invest in FCJ Europe, okay? We can discuss this. We can have my contacts. Feel free to contact me if you have additional information regarding that, okay? Let me go to other one right here. Marcelo, as FCJ affiliate in Rio de Janeiro, how will all get benefits from the strength of FCJ network, doing business throughout our boundaries? Marcelo, my feeling is it's a kind of I don't like this quote, but network is everything. So when we're expanding your network, specifically by FCJ in Brazil, in Europe or US, you have more access to the market in many ways. So for sure, our idea from FCJ Europe, we are working very close to FCJ Brazil, the holding. So basically, we'll share any information we have, and for sure, we open opportunities for any company from the portfolio in Brazil, because this makes sense for all sides. Okay, that's our idea. Please, Arthur, Justino, Henrique, feel free if you'd like to comment something regarding the questions. Okay.
Okay.
Let me go right here. Brent Wanderson, what are the biggest difficulties facing Brazilian startups? I'm not sure exactly your question, Breno, specifically. My experience in Brazil as an investor since 2004, the market get more mature since then. Nowadays, the ecosystem in Brazil is quite good when comparing to the rest of the world. Basically because Brazil is a tough country, so it's very hard to develop something in Brazil. So I have to say that the Brazilian entrepreneurs could be entrepreneurs everywhere in the world. But from the other side, my main concern regarding Brazilian entrepreneurs, that as Brazil is a huge market, they are always looking for a Brazilian market. My suggestion to any entrepreneurs I have mentored in the past 15 years is look to the globe, not look to the Brazil market. Because specifically for IT companies, the barrier for our expansion is not on geography, because IT is an intangible asset, it's in our mind. So I like the companies that born as a global company since the beginning. Okay, that's what makes sense for me. And maybe is the most big difficult facing Brazilian startups. They're looking very locally. That's something very interesting from Portugal, who's mentioned this point, because as Portugal has 10 million, a population of 10 million people, 100% of the companies that start right here in Portugal go global since the beginning, the same way Israel. Okay, and the most interesting that as Portugal, it's a very well-educated country, 90% of the entrepreneurs here speaks very nice English, much better than mine. Okay, so every event, every movement here in startups are 100% in English. So companies are ready to go anywhere in the world. And nowadays, Portugal has been attracting a lot of startups and entrepreneurs around the world, not only from Brazil, from Europe, from USA, from Asia. So when you have events like Techstars Founder Institute, most of the entrepreneurs are not from Portugal. We have a lot of foreign entrepreneurs because they are looking for a base here in Europe to start a new business. Okay, that's my points. Okay, if you have some questions, okay, just do it on the chat. Let me go ahead.
Ricardo, only to add one another dimension, and I believe everyone knows that it is in Portugal that the Web Summit today, the biggest event in technology, takes place. For some reason, the country was chosen for that, not only by its geographical position, but also by the technology and that ecosystem you talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for sure. Okay, for sure. Thank you. Another question from here. I take your question, Hans. Hans is our advisor, as you know, but he asked, could you describe an example how the hybrid model between CVB and CVC could work, generally speaking, in Germany? It's a quite hard question because Germany maybe is the most advanced country in corporate venturing. So we know that how hard it will be to get into the German market. That's why I'm working closely with you, Hans. But basically, what I'm studying, understanding, specific on Germany, we have different tiers of companies that are developing in the innovation side. So we have the top companies like BMW, Mercedes, Bosch, that are doing a great job, and most of them are bringing the best practice of open innovation around the world. But from the other side, we have the middle market. We have a lot of companies, sometimes familiar companies that are looking to try to innovate. And my feeling is the first approach maybe is to hire someone else like us to try to do the first effort. So as the process of innovation is not something that you can buy, you have to try it by yourself. And basically, we believe our model could bring some skin in the games as we try to break the barriers from startups mindset inside the corporations. So when you do that, assuming our model, you try to make this mindset oxygenate the corporation. So I believe it's what I believe. I don't believe in innovation departments in companies. I believe innovation has to be in the skin of each employee in the company. Okay, so when you do something like our model, maybe you can bring this mindset in a medium to long term, but it's something that I believe we can do it in Germany as well. Okay. Let me see other questions right here. There's a question from Spain. Okay, Michelle Shahin. How are you planning to expand? What are the plans for Spain? Michelle, thank you for your question. Basically, as we're doing with Finland, we are looking to have country partners in each country. Okay, so we have some discussions in other countries, and we will have soon discussions in Spain as well. Okay, because we believe to have someone else in local make a lot of sense, that they understand all the connections, network, and make more sense to have a CVB when you have a local partner taking care of it. Okay, so Spain are in your plans, as we are quite near from Portugal. It's almost 1 hour to be there by road, but we are looking for Spain for sure. Okay, if you'd like to talk a little regarding that, feel free to contact me by email. Okay, thank you for participating in that. Let me go. Okay, Afranio, to a CVB, I have the opportunity to invest in a portfolio of promising startups. Okay, Afranio, that's a good question. Yes, that's what we believe. So that's why we were spending a lot of time with corporation to set up the most interesting thesis to deal with the corporation, and which sector that we have to do that, which sector make a lot of sense for the corporation to be invested in. And right after we do that and prepare the investment thesis, the idea is to bring external investors. So they are investing in a portfolio that could be small or not, but they are investing in a portfolio where they have the corporation and FCJ Europe as partner. So everybody are on the same risk on this endeavor. So the answer is yes. Okay. André Carclis, I'm sorry. In my studies, the main difficulties for startups in Brazil, the network, communication, and the difficulty in registered patents. How does FCJ address these issues? I cannot talk this from Brazil. Maybe Justino can explain a little. Okay. I specifically, as I was investor in IT companies and life science companies, so I have to do with a lot of IP specific for life science companies. And I know I'm a lawyer as well. I know how hard it is to have patents in Brazil specifically. And then you have to go to PCT to have this patent value around the world. Okay. So here in Europe, like in US, the IP is so important that most of the companies usually have the IP of each asset they have. Okay, it's not so common in Brazil, specific for software, that you can have patents for software in Brazil. But specifically here in Europe, we use this as a potential asset. Specifically for corporations like pharma and biotech companies, is a must-have in this way. Okay, to understand how does FCJ address these issues, we can discuss that, but we can try to figure out how we can help on this way for the FCJ portfolio in Brazil as well. Okay. Let me go right here. Adolfo from Oberfit. Will FCJ Europe provide conditions to check the possibilities of Brazilian startups be successful in Europe countries? I'm assuming yes, because as I mentioned, we have the event for soft landing from both sides. My feeling is we already have the guys from Top Capital have expertise around the world, from Middle East, Europe, China, and me from the United States, Europe as well. So we have these abilities and from our advisors to try to understand if some solutions from Brazilian startups has or not a fit in European countries. I know that it's just a feeling because only the market can tell you if you have a fit or not. So we have this feeling that we can try to support this and maybe pick up some technologies that could be adapted to European market as well. Okay, so it can be possible. Yes. Okay. Doug Fair, what is the investment ratio in a CVB? How much ownership will the corporation and its employees have versus external investor versus FCJ? Good question, Doug. We have a very specific model in Brazil, but as I mentioned, on phase 2, when you decide the investment thesis, we'll have this more clear after the discussion with the corporation. For sure, the corporation, as they are our client, we're doing this basically for them, okay? Usually they have the control of the CVB. That could be a good point because they have the rights to buy all the portfolio companies or the CVB. That from the point of view of the investor could be a very quick or short exit, okay? But it's specifically regarding the ratio, it's case by case, but the most important part, we would like to have, as we have in Brazil, internal employees investing in the CVB and external investors as well. When you have the internal investors for the corporation on the CVB, they are skin in the game, so they are more open to support the startups than only as a corporate C-level person. Because as you know, the C-level persons, the most important thing they can do is make money for the corporation. So when they have investments in the CVB, they are more open to try to support the companies and bring this, open the doors for the startups to get into the corporation. But we don't have a ratio specifically. The only ratio usually we have that the corporation have control of the CVB. Okay, hope I have addressed your question. Okay, Poliana, Marcelo Ambrosio. Has FCJ Europe an investment thesis already? Or any market segment focus or initial preference? Marcelo, yes, we have an investment thesis already. We have some expertise that we learned in Brazil, like from agriculture, like we have agri-ventures, we have expertise in retail, we have some expertise in pharma. So for sure, we are bringing this as our first approach right here, where we have some track records on the going, okay? And for sure, like me and Top Capital, everybody has expertise like Henrique in hospitalities, and we have a lot of startups right here in Portugal in hospitality as well. So we are bringing our expertise to the table to have very specific market segment focus, okay? We can discuss this further if you have interest to be part of, okay? Really appreciate. Okay, Doug, thank you for the skin in the game. Yeah, that's our approach, okay? I believe only on this in every startup I would like invest or be part of. Thank you. Any more questions? I'm not sure if I not see any more questions right here. We have 1 minute, so we're quite on time. So, okay, any comments from Arthur, Henrique, or Justino? I'm sorry to talk a lot.
I think we can talk about this the startup win launching too.
Yes, I try and explain a little startup win. Startup win is an initiative from FCJ that we are launching startup win Portugal only. We're the first. We already have the person who will take care about this initiative. And basically, correct if I'm wrong, okay, Justino, because I'm not the expert on startup win. But basically, startup win, it's a way that you can bring the solutions of the startups, specifically from FCJ, to new markets. So have someone else open the doors in a new market for the FCJ startups in Brazil. And at the same time, you can do this on the reverse way from Portugal to Brazil as well. Okay, so for someone asked regarding the FCJ, how can access the European market. Maybe by Startup Win could be one of the ways you can have some, how can I say, insights regarding how your product or solution has appeal in the market. Okay, so it's a quite nice, interesting experience for FCJ. Go ahead.
Startup Wins is the franchise model. Okay, is the I think the better for startups money of sales customer. Okay?
Yes,
it's good. Money investor is good, but sales is better. The Startup Win is to growth, to help the startup growth sales. We focus on sales, just sales. Throughout the franchise model. In 19, the next 19, we launched Startup Win. We have one master franchise in Lisboa.
yes.
I think it's here, Carlos.
Okay, that's great. We can explore this if someone else has to ask more. The last question here, I can answer. There's one from Mauricio, my friend. He's an Italian guy that lives in Brazil for 16 years, now based here in Portugal as an investor, bringing some companies from Brazil to Portugal. And he asked me regarding the activities in the soft landing phase. Mauricio, we have this event soon. And as you know, we have a close relationship with Atlantic Hub and Atlantic Core Angels. So it would be nice to discuss some potential partnerships with the group, okay? You know, José Letras already investors in Core Angels, in Red Angels, Core Angels. So we are very close and maybe we could be a great opportunity to work together in some ways, okay? So everyone, I really appreciate we got on time, 1 hour. I like to be very tough with times because everybody have their agendas. So I really would like to thank you all to participate in this. Very nice questions. I'm very excited to be part of this team. And feel free to reach me when you want, okay? Thank you so much. Thank you, Justino, Arthur, and Henrique for participating in this. I really appreciate your time and attention. Okay?
Very much.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.